Hey everyone, it's your girl TeraMichelle. Welcome back to my channel, Opinionated Scents, our safe space to discuss all things fragrance, whether we like them or not. Today's video is going to be a brief departure from the notes series so I can talk to you guys about something that I experienced and the different ways that you can use fragrance regarding your mood. Now, oftentimes when we're talking about stress or we're talking about mood boosting fragrances, we talk about those happy scents or we talk about those scents with tea and mint that are comforting and zen-like. But I'm going to share a story with you guys, and I'm going to tell you the fragrance I actually reached for and why. Because sometimes when you have a stressor, sometimes when you're triggered, you don't necessarily want to calm down right away. You don't want to bottle things up. You don't want to compartmentalize. Sometimes you need to go through that emotion, and sometimes that emotion is anger, and that's okay. Sometimes you can utilize your sense of smell to feel something and keep yourself from cursing somebody out, yelling, screaming, breaking things, having a complete breakdown. Still move through the emotion, but use a fragrance to help you do so. Let's jump right into the video. I do want to give fair warning that this scent story could be triggering for some of you. So if anything that I say bothers you or rubs you the wrong way, please feel free to go ahead and watch any of my other videos or wait for me to post another one. However, I do need to tell my truth. I do need to give this example because I believe that it is a learning moment and it is a teachable moment for so many people out there who were in my position and who think like the person I'm about to talk to you guys about. So one day I was working from home, and this was in 2020, so this was last year. And I got a phone call from one of my coworkers, and she was like, she is a white female. I do love her, and she loves me. Like, we are like sisters at work. We don't deal with each other outside of work, but you know how sometimes you can be closer to people at work or that you go to school with. You may not hang with them after that, but you guys spend 8, 9, 10 hours a day together. So you can build those work relationships. Like, people have work husbands and work wives and all that other craziness. But I do care about her and she cares about me. So I need to preface this statement or this story with that. There's no maliciousness between us, and she felt like I was a safe space to come and ask this question, so that speaks volumes to how close we are. So I was working from home, and this was shortly after the George Floyd murder, and she called me and she said, "Hey TM, I want to ask you a question. I feel like you're a safe space because we've had conversations about race, about Black women and their hair, and why you shouldn't just walk up to them and touch their hair, nor should you ask if you don't know them. We've had these conversations before. Safe space, okay? I tend to try to lead my life like that, be a safe space for you to come and talk to me about whatever it is." So I said, "Sure, you can ask me a question." She was like, "Yes, because I feel like you won't get mad." And I'm like, "Ooh, so this could be triggering, but let's just brace ourselves because I know she's not going to come to me, out of pocket." So the question that she asked me was, she said, "TeraMichelle, how do Black people expect us," her being white, meaning white people, "to care about them being murdered when all they do is kill each other every day?" Just sit with that for a moment. Let's take into account all the moving pieces to this, okay? You're a white woman. You are in your 50s. You have lived a life, raised children, and made it to in your 50s. You have this idea in your head that a person's life, depending on their skin color, could be so irrelevant just because somebody else with the same skin color may not have respected another life. The concept doesn't make any sense to me. You also thought, no matter how cool you are and how much you love another Black woman, platonically, that this was a question you should ask another human being that is of that race. This is where we are with this, guys. This is such a polarizing, such a triggering question. But again, there's so much going through my mind. Like, first of all, I can't afford to lose my cool, because where do we go? You cannot meet ignorance with ignorance and expect anyone to learn in that situation. So it's my duty, it's my responsibility to check the anger that roused up at the absurdity of the question, because I was angry, I was triggered, I was appalled, and I was hurt, because there was a human being saying, how do Black people expect us to care about them being killed, about them being murdered when they kill each other every day? My response, my initial response was simple. You should care about a life lost, regardless of the ethnicity or skin color. And then I said, what makes you think that Black people just sit around killing each other every day? And she told me that on her news broadcast every day where she lives, all they run is stories about how Black people kill each other every day. Boys on the corner, killing each other. I said, okay. Now, I can believe that, because we all know the media is set up to push a narrative. That's fine. Okay. However, let me ask you a question. This is what I asked her. Who's doing the school shootings, the concert bombings, the concert shootings, the movie theater shootings, the marathon shootings and bombings and all this stuff? Who is doing that? Well, usually white males. So again, I ask you, what makes you think that all Black people do is sit around and kill each other? If you feel that you are having a hard time caring about a person being murdered on camera in front of a crowd of people for the world to see, even though they claim he was still alive for a little while, it feels like his life was lost right in front of us. His soul, his everything, the light just went out of that man while there was another man with a knee on his neck. How do you even come up with the concept that because he's Black and you know that other Black people have killed other Black people before, this murder before your eyes all of a sudden doesn't matter? So naturally, her response after I asked her about all of the shooters, the school shooters and, bombings and all that stuff, was that we see that stuff so much, she had been desensitized. Like, she doesn't even count that as like actually happening. I'm like, but how? Not when you're talking about two Black boys on the corner killing each other, because that's the example you gave, where there's a white man that's going and killing tens and hundreds of people in one swoop. Children, babies, just innocent people. How are you so desensitized that that doesn't equate to anything? Or are you telling me that you also don't care when you see a white life lost either? No, that's not what you're saying. See? So how can you just bypass the fact? Just think about this country. Let's talk about the conquering of this country from the natives. Let's talk about the genocide of the Tasmanian tribes, and let's talk about the almost complete wiping out of the Aboriginals in Australia. There's a lot we could talk about in the history books where the people who were doing all of the murdering, raping, and pillaging were not Black, honey. That's for sure. So, and I'm not saying that, you have war-torn countries and things that happen over in Africa, bad people everywhere. But what I'm talking about specifically is here in the United States, when you can come and ask this Black woman why white people should care about a Black life lost because two boys on the corner killed themselves or killed each other, or gangs shoot each other in Compton and, Detroit or wherever. Let's make it make sense. The numbers, the history, come on. It doesn't matter unless this person just got through raping a ton of women, or molesting a bunch of kids, and or hurting you specifically or your kids specifically, where you just have a reason to hate and you don't care about watching them die. That's why some family members go to see somebody be electrocuted or get lethal injection. Some people don't care. But None of us knew George Floyd. So to see him be murdered like that should affect us because we have a heart and a soul. Everybody walking this earth knows full well, whether it was a counterfeit bill or not, that is not a justifiable reason to kill a person. And I'm not laughing about it. The absurdity of some of the things I've seen and read, just, you know how you gotta laugh to keep from crying. So I was just highly offended by the fact that this woman could be walking around this earth with this mentality. And again, she didn't mean it maliciously. She was seriously asking a question. I think she was seeking help to figure out why her brain was wired that way. So we had this productive conversation where I really felt the need to stay calm and be clear and be concise and be understanding. Be understanding. Try to put myself in her shoes and see it how she sees it. Even if it seems like so out of place and out of pocket and just like an outer body experience, I try to see both sides so that we can get a feeling and understanding for one another. You can't focus on the black crime and just forget about the white. It doesn't work that way. So needless to say, once we got off the phone, the anger that was there, the hurt, the frustration, the anger was there. But I didn't want to go zen. I didn't want tea. I didn't want calming. I wanted to feel that rage and that hurt because it felt good to just feel something other than pathetic and small and defeated and hopeless. I needed to rage, but I was in the house with my kids. You know, I'm working from home. They're, you know, in school, you know, working from home or schooling from home or homeschool. That's what I'm looking for here. And I couldn't scream. I'm in my own house, so I'm not about to break nothing. You know, what we talking about? So I needed to feel the emotion. And I looked over here at my case and saw this beautiful gold shiny bottle. Shagaf Oud from the House of Swiss Arabian. You get praline, you get rose, you get saffron, you get loads of vanilla and a double dose of oud. This is a powerhouse fragrance. When I sprayed this fragrance, oversprayed this fragrance and let it fill up the room, I felt powerful. I felt like it understood my rage the same way that it filled me up. I felt like I could do anything, I could handle anything, and I just didn't give a you know what. This is definitely my I don't give a fragrance. This is polarizing. This is in your face. This is I'm in control. I do what I want. I wear what I want. And that was what I was craving. That was what I needed. I needed to feel like I don't care. I'm going to rage inwardly. I'm going to feel this emotion. I'm going to let it grow through me. I'm going to let it move through me and then dissipate, just like this will eventually. And then the smell of this, the beautiful smell of this, that rich, beautiful vanilla helped to calm me after I got a chance to move through that emotion of anger and hurt and disappointment and bewilderment. All of those things were bottled up in this. And when I sprayed it and I matched it to my energy, baby, it was a beautiful thing. So I wanted to share this story because I have some people in my life who are going through some things. And one of the things I always hear people says, calm down, it's going to be okay, don't overreact. Sometimes, and I don't mean necessarily outwardly, you don't need to be violent. You don't need to break things. Sometimes if you're alone and you can without scaring your children, you can scream into your pillow, do whatever you need to do to feel better. But it's not always calm down right away. Sometimes you need to feel something else to get it out. And this was just it for me that day. This was it. This met me at my level and wore me down. She absolutely won that day. But it's okay to have different emotions. And emotions aren't always just zen or crying or laughter or happiness. Sometimes there is anger. Sometimes there is just other emotions, and it's okay. We are human. But again, let's try to keep our cool enough to have conversations, because I can appreciate the fact that she came to ask me that question instead of walking around this earth thinking that mentality was healthy or right. And I do believe that I was able to explain to her and impart some wisdom about how unhealthy that frame of mind, that thought process is. And in the meantime, in between time, this fragrance will always be everything to me, everything to me. And it got me through. And there's nothing zen about this fragrance. So that's my story time. I do want people to be, if you comment on this story, I do want people to be respectful of my friend, because she is my friend. And again, there is no stupid question, okay? Sometimes people are conditioned a certain way. How do you think some racists are turned around? They have to ask questions that might be outrageous and appalling to get an understanding as to why that thought is not correct. That mind frame is not correct or healthy. So we can have an intelligent conversation in the comments. I'm here for you. You can ask me whatever you like. You can share your stories too. It's beautiful to get those things out, and it can be cathartic. But be respectful, please. Again, this is always a safe space to discuss all things fragrance and everything else included in that, whether we like them or not. Thank you for spending time with me today through this different type of video. Please don't forget to click the like button while you're here, and also subscribe to my channel, as well as select the notification bell so that you never miss any of my future uploads. I look forward to seeing you guys in the comments as always. And until then,